This episode 2 of the podcast, I've named the essay Renaming Haters. Haters, let me come to your defense. You're not actually haters. I don't know what you should be called exactly, but maybe we'll find it as we talk this out. What I do know is you're not actually haters. True hate, genuine hatred, is deep. It's an emotion extraordinarily powerful. It's a feeling with some spiritual heaviness behind it. I'll look to my Creator to define the appropriate passion hatred holds. Proverbs 6 says there are 6 things the Lord hates. However, 7 things that are detestable to Him. Meaning, not even everything detestable to God rises to the measure of being worthy of His hatred. Hatred is a tier further than biblical detest. The name hater has been used far too loosely in our society. You don't think LeBron is the greatest basketball player ever? Oh, you're just a hater. You don't like when they air Taylor Swift's suite on an NFL broadcast? Oh, you're just a hater. But that's not accurate. You don't actually come close to the severity an honest hater feels. Our culture has gotten used to the idea of haters. There's a comfortability about it. What you call your haters aren't actually that seriously in opposition of you. Negative commenters, even on my YouTube channel, likely aren't haters. What we call hate comments today are just as helpful to us in the algorithmic game of relevancy as the positive are, if not more so. My quote, haters, actually help me advance my cause. A true hater would not do that. Those who type, "What a loser, you suck at podcasting, go get a real job," that's not a hater. Those who shout halfway across the globe from you, "Death to America," that's more likely your thoroughbred hater. A better name for you formerly known as haters would be the Jealousites. Maybe we'll call them the Envy Mob. Maybe we'll call them Club Covetous. Maybe when you're resentful, we'll call you Resentfools. What you've likely been called a hater for isn't representative of your hatred. It's actually representative of your jealousy. And I can prove it. The upcoming 59th Super Bowl's matchup is set. A rematch of 2 seasons prior. The dynastic Kansas City Chiefs will meet the also routinely successful Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans for the final 60 minutes of the NFL season. The overwhelming online sentiment has been, this matchup is not what the people wanted to see. They preferred a Bills-Commanders Super Bowl. They preferred a match between 2 teams that haven't reached the end before. In other words, they preferred a Super Bowl between 2 teams that have proven to deserve an opportunity less. What's interesting is we've seen this story in the NFL before. The previous NFL dynasty belonged to the New England Patriots, or even more specifically, to quarterback Tom Brady, whose championship appearances continued into his time as a Buccaneer. I grew up my entire childhood with the Patriots being the team very few could beat, and the nation at almost every chance they had rooting for the Patriots' opponent to put an end to the run. Why is this happening over again? There must be a psychological reason people learn to root against inevitable greatness. Not only are they rooting against it before and as these games happen, but even worse, they make excuses and denigrate the winner afterward. For 20 years, the Patriots winning was written off as a result due only to their team being allowed to get away with elaborate cheating crimes. Now, people claim the game referees conduct the Chiefs' scandals for them. People are insistent that once Taylor Swift's dating status entered the equation, the NFL told the refs that Travis Kelce must win every important game. These ideas are illogical. These people are they're just a bunch of jealousites and resentfuls. The NFL wanted the Patriots to get away with advantages? That's funny. I seem to remember a suspension of Tom Brady that had no precedence. The NFL wants the Chiefs in every Super Bowl for the rest of eternity? That's funny. I seem to remember an overtime rule created after a Chiefs-Bills playoff game that would make it so that Patrick Mahomes couldn't win in the same fashion he just had ever again. Let's get even more specific. In this most recent Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game that so many claim was stacked in Kansas City's favor, the primary play in question was over a 4th and 1 call that gave the Chiefs defense a turnover on downs. Do me a favor and look at the scoreboard when that supposedly deciding play happened. To your utter shock, you will find the Buffalo Bills actually held a lead at that stage of the game, and there were an entire 12 minutes 55 seconds left on the game clock. You'd think it was the final play of the game, but it was far from that. The Chiefs were still at a less than 50% probability to win the game after the failed Josh Allen QB sneak. Let's remember, we've previously seen Patrick Mahomes overcome Buffalo with only 13 seconds to do it. This time, there were 13 entire minutes. Listen, people. The Chiefs were going to win this game with or without that 4th down stand. If anything, Buffalo got lucky. They fumbled the ball 4 times in the game and recovered every single one. There was a Chief fumble they also recovered, totaling 5 fumbles. They recovered 5 out of 5 fumbles. They're the first team in playoff history to do that and lose the game. Had the Chiefs recovered one of those fumbles, much less had they even recovered just 2 out of 5, this game would have been a significant blowout. I have several Chicago Bear rooting friends that have met for well over a decade to watch games together. We have a group chat, and this jealous anti-Chief narrative started to dominate conversation in that group chat, and I finally snapped. I had enough, so I sent this text. I just don't understand the ref conspiracy complaining. Here's the reality. When teams are trailing in a football game, they get more desperate and they try to take more shortcuts, so they commit fouls. Sometimes the ref calls them, sometimes they don't. But logically, you can understand why the trailing team would consistently be committing more penalties than the team protecting the leads. The Chiefs have been leading the majority of the last several years, and even still, they are 29th in penalties called in their favor. It's the same bitching people did when the Patriots had their run as well. It's not always rigged. Sometimes it's the fact that in both Kansas City and New England's dynastic scenarios, they simultaneously had the league's best quarterback, coach, tight end, and top 10 defenses. It's very hard to beat a team that has all that. In my opinion, whining about the ref's favoritism comes from the same class of people that don't like capitalism, and they don't like accomplished people, and they don't like that there are winners and losers in life. Participation trophy culture. Every time you diminish the winning team, what you're doing is diminishing yourself if you're ever to win in life, or you're ever to root for a winning team. If the Bears have a run with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, and then the world constantly says all we got was the favoritism of the referees, then what is the point of being a fan and watching football? That was the end of my text. I said I could prove this resent comes from jealousy and not hatred. You know how? Because at one time those rooting against the Chiefs tonight were rooting for them. I saw this meme. It says you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. It shows the fact that back when these same two teams playing tonight, the Chiefs and Eagles, were playing against the Patriots in AFC Championship games and Super Bowls, the majority of the entire country was rooting for the Eagles or the Chiefs to beat the Patriots. Now that it's those two teams that have had success for several years, all those same people are rooting against them. It proves you never actually hated the Chiefs. You were rooting for the Chiefs if it meant they would beat the Tom Brady Patriots. It's all relative. I give all this sports context with respect to tonight's game because it makes for the perfect analogy in examining Club Covetous's behavior in our culture outside of sports as well. It's the exact explanation for why Donald Trump went from favorite cultural icon to divisive political figure. As a businessman, we rooted for him. Television show, we loved him. Appeared to be an adored father by his kids? Awesome. Consensus was we liked Trump. Cameo him in movies. Let's see him in wrestling. Let's rap about him in our music. But as soon as he decided he could be leader of the free world, people snapped. That was one step too far. The jealousy threshold was met. I truly believe people have a threshold for how much success they will allow you to experience before they switch on you. They start rooting against you. Guess what? If you didn't hate Donald Trump before he descended the escalator, then I don't believe you actually hate him now. I'm calling your bluff. I think you're a resent fool. Use tonight's Super Bowl to assess yourself. Are you rooting for a game outcome out of the same spite liberals became so indignant about Trump over? Being jealous of success is born of the same character trait that has made the left so historically incorrect. Enjoy the success of others so that when you have yours, the world wants to celebrate beside you.
For the full podcast episode, select this video.